Okay. I think I got it back up and running. All right. I think we're good to go.
All right, all right, all right. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Amen.
So what were you
Amen.
saying
I was
about?
just uh, I was just looking at this verse in Jeremiah. It says, "If you have ran with the footmen and they have wearied you, how will you contend with the horses?" Did you hear that?
Yeah, if you ran with the
Yeah.
footmen, what?
And they
And
have, if you ran with the footmen and they have wearied you,
yeah,
how will you contend with the horses? And if you, in a land of peace, have stumbled, what are you going to do when the Jordan overflows? It basically spoke to like if you're not able to manage yourself at a certain level in life, what are you going to do when life really comes at you? I remember when I was learning to drive, I had to be able to handle the traffic on Delridge Avenue before I could handle the traffic on I-5. you know, it's the same thing with workplace contingents and stuff. You have to become very efficient at managing levels of stress and engagement or challenges so you can go to that next level.
yeah, I think that's pretty good. Um, yeah, especially in like time, like you said, in times of peace or tranquility.
Yeah, yeah,
That can make you soft, right?
yeah,
If you're not, pushing the envelope, if you're not expanding yourself and taking, pushing your, trying to have a, growth mindset of like expanding your capacity, your resilience,
yeah,
your toughness, your, mental thoughts, then you'd get stagnant. I think that equates to the I think I shared this with you before, the whole inverted U, where
yeah,
you always want to
yeah,
be pushing yourself up, on a learning curve. But
yeah,
whatever environment or whatever task you're doing, it could be a workout, right? Your body
yeah,
will start plateauing unless you change
yeah.
up the
It'll
workout.
adapt.
Yeah, it'll adapt and it'll plateau. And then you
Yeah,
have to have the wherewithal to find a new learning curve, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to plateau, and then over time, then you'll eventually start going down the other side of that inverted U. You'll start decaying and stop growing. So, no, I think that's pretty good.
well, one of the things I think, you know, life is going to require something from you. And there's nothing worse than meeting that moment and being unprepared.
Yeah,
It could be familial, it could be in your career, it could be some sort of calling, but life is going to require you to step up, you to be present. And not even just to be present, but you have to be capable.
yeah,
And your capability isn't developed in the time of war. Your capability is developed in your time of peace.
yep,
It's in your rest. It's in that place that you're able to prepare for, because the moments where you really need to step up in life, be that in a marriage or any kind of situation in life can throw at you, they're brief. They're not long. That's why this war in Iraq and Afghanistan is so remarkable, because it's gone on for so long. I mean, the First World War was only 4 years. Look at the period of time which was the Second World War.
I well,
And now,
I think that's interesting though. I would beg to differ, right? So we declared we had, Victory Europe VE Day and VJ Day, but that did not mean all the troops went home, right? We
correct.
occupied Japan, we occupied Germany. The
We're still
remain
there.
Yeah, so the remainder of the war what is actually the peace hadn't been won yet. It's just the shooting had stopped, or it had died
Yeah.
down to such a low level that then we didn't call it war anymore, or,
Right.
so I don't the definition of war, I think, is has been too westernized, to the conventional military. In actuality, you gotta win the peace, sometimes through presence and establishing new norms. I think Japan and Germany, we were successful in doing that after their ideology was recognized as being defeated. But then we took those their strong work ethics and flipped it into a new paradigm. So that was good. The challenge with Iraq and Afghanistan is those cultures, um, are more tribal and don't have the same, you
They don't
um,
have the same kind of value systems
yeah,
that we typically have in
yeah. They didn't
Western
have, they didn't
civilization.
have that industry focused, mindset or culture. I'm not, denigrating the people that live in Afghanistan and Iraq, but it's just different than Japan and Germany, right? So it was easier
Hmm.
for us to flip it and make them sort of like westernized. It's harder, much
Yeah.
harder. We have to stay there for a lot longer to do that in Afghanistan because it's been so tribal and dispersed for so many centuries that you can't
Hmm.
flip it that quickly. The education,
Hmm.
just the education infrastructure is not present. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I agree with you though, right? You have to be, if you have a constant training mindset in your life and you're getting ready for the next change, can you build your stance and posture so when that curveball comes towards you or that right hook, are you ready to adapt and succeed? Or
Hmm.
mitigate, and stay on track to your goals or whatever. But
Yeah.
life is just, that's the thing about life is you're always facing change and challenge.
Yeah. Well, another thing is that every challenge you're going through, either qualifies you or disqualifies you for a lot of times the next thing in life. It's the same thing with a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. These are all. It's a graduated process, but it's also a qualification. If you're not, I remember even the brief period of time that I was in college, I had to satisfy certain credits in certain areas in order to register for the next set of classes.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't just, start registering for senior level classes and I hadn't finished my sophomore, junior, my 200 and 300 level courses. And, even that little incident that I had went through this last week, recognizing that my interactions and my engagements with people aren't just some inconvenient thing that's happening in my life. It's actually, these are exams. The worst thing for me is when I don't listen to my own discernment and I end up taking a test that I wasn't really scheduled for.
Yeah,
but um, but
yeah,
yeah. Anyways, things that we go through qualify us. They verify that what we needed to learn was learned, attained, and we can go on to the next level.
yeah. And so, but it's not it's not, I appreciate your analogy of coursework that first you have to do this, then this, right? That's pretty linear. The crazy thing with life though is it's not always so linear, right? Because it's
No,
complex.
yeah, it's messy.
So you might mess up this engagement on this one, but if you learn
Yeah,
from it, you don't necessarily have to go down that same path to go to the next level. You can actually do
yeah,
it from another direction, and
yeah,
that that ceiling that you butted up against, there might be another ladder you can go up to get past that ceiling. So
yeah.
that's the crazy thing about life is especially if you have a long life, there's just so many opportunities and a variety of paths you can go down. It all depends, goes back to you on your, energy and focus and desire to make something of yourself, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of glad you brought up that point because I was looking back at the journal, the bullet journal, and I was looking at some things that we had written down, some concepts that we have shot around between the two of us. And one thing that kind of spoke to me last night was um, mindsets, the three mindsets, three things to establish my interaction with the world, if you will. What thoughts to think, what things mean, and then what to do. And I forget if that was a culmination of your original thought mixed with some things that we read in different books. I know that we've read a lot of books lately, but it resonated with me because I felt like here's the analogy that kind of came to me last night. Vehicles. Now, mind you, I haven't ridden in a vehicle other than a prison transport bus in 22 years. And there has been a mass evolution in transportation since I fell. And now cars tell you where to go. They take a left, take a right, keep going. We used to have to fish out a map from a gas station out of the glove box to try to find out where you wanted to go.
Yep.
If you didn't have someone sitting shotgun to help you, you were in trouble.
Yep.
They even have this, I've seen on commercial, this lane assistance. If you start to veer into the next lane, beep, 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 it'll tell you, hey, you're veering. Are you following me?
Oh, yeah.
Have you,
Yeah.
Cars talk to you. They're telling you, they have so many systems in place to help you get to your destination safely.
Yeah, the crazy thing. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, and those are pre-established, safety features, pretty darn convenient, great technology, and we're talking about, geographic navigation. The issue though is, where's the roadmap or the help, the assistance on, being a, quality person, and where are those rules? Where are those, guidelines?
Yeah.
And there's so much information these days. I think people just get distracted. They get complacent. Where is true? What are one's principles and values, right? And then and do you have the discipline to actually, chart a life that follows those? And that becomes a big challenge.
Yeah, well, and to go back to what I read in the bullet journal I wrote down is, for me, starting my vehicle in the morning, preparing to go somewhere, work or yard or wherever I'm headed, the limited places I can go in prison, is, I first need to decide, what am I going to think? Everything I do will be a result of that. I'm 85% of me, I'm wired to think negatively. That's been given to me by life. You'd be surprised how hard it is for me to hold on to a positive thought. Man, it's like trying to hold a balloon with buttery fingers. It just wants to float right away. But a negative thought, a challenging, stressful, pessimistic thought, I could roll up with that all day long. And so I'm fighting against something that's been hardwired in me. And that's why I need to be so intentional about, hey, what am I going to think? And I need to not allow my mind to be an open door for negativity, garbage, and stress. but I need to choose rather to think constructive, positive, beautiful thoughts. And then I need to assign meaning to the things that are taking place around me. Otherwise, you're going to be just an emotional man. What's meaningful? That wasn't meaningful at all. If someone honks the horn, it's you on the road. That doesn't destroy you for the rest of the day. You're not like, oh my God, this person honked, it made noise at me. You've already assigned a meaning to that, and it's very low level.
Yeah.
But if you are a person that someone honked the horn at you once while you were driving, and you're completely offended and off track the rest of the week, that would be an issue.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty good. Those three questions, what to think, what things mean, and then, what actions to take. Yeah, that came from Tony Robbins. And I think it's so invaluable, right? So, and and hearing you go over that, the fact that you've been in prison so long, and it's so easy to, think negative, but you're able to recognize that, right? Objectively look at yourself, and then focus on, hope and opportunity that is even present in your situation and condition, and have the mental discipline to focus on that. And then based on that focus, then you can identify things that are and actions and items that are meaningful to you. And so then you can harvest that, right? You can plant those seeds and harvest it, and and then that drives your actions. So you have positive relationships with people. You invested, in your education. You're building your skill set as a plumber, and in a woods craftsman. And so and that, that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy talking to you, because of your positive energy despite the condition that you're facing. And honestly, I mean, that your personal leadership of doing that in the crucible that you're in is quite impressive, Drew. I mean,
yeah, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Well, I'm drawn to you for a multitude of reasons as well. Let me expound upon your virtues.
Yeah, whatever.
I think you freaking rock, and you kick ass a million different ways as well. And I mean, dude, I remember when 9/11 happened, and I think I was like 22 years old, and I was working out, and I was in great shape, and there was this, big patriotic fever, to get up and go fight this enemy. And I couldn't, man. I couldn't go down to a recruiter's office, take the test. I couldn't get in the Army. I couldn't become a Ranger, which I think would have been in my wheelhouse. Because my first enemy that I didn't defeat was myself. And because I couldn't defeat the enemy within me, I couldn't be present to fight an enemy that was against, our whole nation, our whole country. And so because I lost the first war inside of me, I disqualified myself for a real war. Not that I was just looking for war, but what I was looking for was meaning, sacrifice.
Yeah, or purpose,
To have purpose, yeah. And so the last 20 some odd years is been a quest to find purpose in this type of environment. But I've modeled a lot of, even when you were all over the world, I was, through our family, I was kind of tracking your progress when you were a major to a lieutenant colonel, and and I was trying to have some of the same graduated processes in my own life. So, and it's every day, it's temperamental around here. And I have people coming in with have a multitude of complexes. And I'm a complex person,
Yeah.
and I gotta shower, wash my face. It's like the military. We're all just like crammed in this little space, and it's an alpha dog environment.
Yeah.
And and
No,
it's not necessarily the path to becoming a good man.
yeah, but you have done that despite the crucible that you're in. You've persevered and made those good, well thought out investments, in my opinion. And I really like your analogy of um, you were not able to respond in a way you would have liked and for serving a higher purpose because you know you didn't lead yourself first, right? You didn't,
Yeah,
going back, taking it back to the front, you didn't have
yeah,
yourself in a position or in a posture to then be
mm-hmm.
able to react to life's opportunities in a meaningful
Yeah,
way
yeah,
because you were caught flat-footed because you're already stuck in this environment, right?
yeah,
It, and yeah, so it goes back to, okay, what everybody has a different set of tools and a different existence, but if you can objectively look at it, and even if you're
yeah.
on the getting up there in age like we are now, there's still opportunity in the remainder of our lives to still make ourselves better. And what are we doing now, day in and day out,
Well,
investing
you
in.
know, I want to go back and kind of reiterate something that we had talked about maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago, and it's about the metric of time. Um, Time is a commodity that cannot be renewed. I have written down right here, and I know I didn't come up with this. But I wrote it down, so it's mine. You can't make time. You can only take time. You can only take it. You can't make it. It's a completely inaccurate. Well, I'll make time for that. No. You don't make time. Time is always spinning in your life. And the reason why I'm sensitive to the concept of time is because I was sentenced to do time. And time and the passage of it is my punishment. So I'm very aware of it. I'm very aware of when a decade of life is gone. And you don't get that decade back. So either you did something in that decade, or you have to find a way, to make that next decade, more so successful. Um, but we don't have an infinite amount of time and opportunities to be the individuals we want to be. All you have is the seconds and a minute that God gives us, and the opportunities, no matter how rare they are, that come your way. And by God, I hope you're prepared. And that's me. And that's you. And that's whoever's eventually one day listening, to rise to the occasion. Otherwise, that moment blows right by. And you're not guaranteed another opportunity. So time is always running away from us.
Yep.
Even the time on this clock right now. Even the time on this video visit.
Yep.
I got to make the next 4 minutes and 10 seconds count.
Yeah. Well, it's like the lifeblood, right? So, and it's one of those life resources, intangible resources that a lot of times people don't even truly appreciate. And um, but if you do, if you realize that, okay, every day is another opportunity, and are you trying to make that day a masterpiece day,
Yeah.
by investing in yourself, investing in your relationships,
Yeah.
serving with purpose, trying to, forge some good habits, sharpening the sword. And, but yeah,
Yeah.
when those opportunities come at you, it's a question of rising to the occasion, or are you just, are you maximizing that opportunity,
Well, it's
because
like, when you were in high school, well, I don't know about you, you're completely an anomaly. You're almost not human. But, when you're in high school, it seems like it takes an eternity
yeah,
until you're 40. And you're like, dude, that was a blink in the eye. I wish I had, like, stopped and just thought, you know.
yeah,
But when you're in the midst of it, you think, God, this is taking forever until you get a little bit older. And I know that's a cliche, hindsight 2020. But I'm 42 right now. But when I'm 70, I'll be thinking, man, when I was 42, why wasn't I stretching
yeah,
or whatever? Taking these type of vitamins. You know, I think the thing is, and I read this in the Brendan Burchard book. He said, imagine yourself 10 years from now. Smarter, stronger, more successful than you could have ever imagined yourself to be. And then that version of you showed up on your doorstep right now. What is the next thing that you would tell yourself to do? What are the next series of actions that you would have to take? Sometimes you have to imagine that to stop and be present and go, okay, you know, don't just don't burn a day, a week, a month, a year. Doesn't matter if COVID's going on. This is my life right now. How can I maximize it? How can I maximize purpose,
yep. And so,
relationship?
yeah, and so I think that it goes back to the framework you started this with. You have to choose what to think about. You want it to be
Yeah,
positive. You want it to be productive. You want it to be aligned to what you want to be in the future. So you're not a wandering generality. You're a meaningful
yeah, yeah, yeah,
specific.
yeah, yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's one step. And then step number two is based on your goals, truly have aligned meaning, aligned purpose, so that that's driving what you're thinking. And then it ties right into what to do. And I think in this
Yeah,
world, because there's so much noise and distractions and stuff, I think you have to not only be deliberate in what you do every day, like positive habits, but you also need to look at what are you doing that's negative and stop doing
yeah,
those things,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that could
It's a
be
dissonance
gossiping.
distraction.
Yeah, it could be gossiping,
Yeah,
it could be watching stupid TV, it could be drinking
yeah,
alcohol, it could be whatever. and
yeah.
and I think that is the key, because then you start forging yourself to be better, for the future.
All right, 10 seconds, man. Look, I love you. Good talk.
Hey,
I'll
same
talk
here.
to you tomorrow afternoon. Come up with some more concepts.
Sounds good.